Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is very good to be here in this very stimulating discussion. Of course, sustainability is, I would say, the challenge of the 21st century. And how to generate the best drive so that sustainable solutions can be implemented in today's cities in a way that reflects, first of all, the needs of the users, their goals as daily commuters, whether they are individuals or communities, and the way that it fits the challenges for the cities, for all the subsystems in the ecosystem of the city is the major challenge, as I was saying, and it will reshape the way that we look at our cities in this very early century, and it will also bring new ideas, new innovations, new technologies into our day-to-day lives. So I would like to focus a bit my discussion on not so much as the what, but on the how, meaning how to promote sustainable mobility for the smart city, taking advantage specifically on the fact that we are getting smarter. Cities are getting smarter, transport stations are getting smarter, energy systems are getting smarter. We are all getting more and more connected, and that is an advantage. Taking on the basic, let's say, concepts of the discussion, what is sustainable mobility? There is no, I would say, there is no one single definition for sustainable mobility, but at the same time, we can find some definitions. We have here one from the EU, one from the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, where we'll find some keywords that I would like to focus. First of all, universal access, the ability for people to move, and not only people, the ability to create systems that enable people and goods to be moved around the city in a very efficient manner. Affordability, the ability to generate systems that can be afforded, that can be accessed by people. The sustainability, of course, in terms of energy and environment. This is one of the key goals, and the one that is mostly taken as the main goal. But I would say that is only one of the goals that we face when addressing this issue of sustainable mobility. And then the ability to move freely, generate interactions, generate trade, and in the end, contribute for new businesses, new developments that foster other developments and provide us with economic development and quality of life. What is a smart city, right? Smart cities are the cities that usually are presented as cities that take advantage of technology, that take advantage of this integration. Once again, using some of the definitions that we found from IBM, from some researchers, from Cisco, we found some keywords that are interesting also. Technology, transport and ICT communications. More and more people are connected. Systems are interconnected by technology. Everybody has a cell phone. Every vehicle can be tracked in its day-to-day commuting. And the smart use of technology will for sure reshape the way that we manage our day-to-day mobility, that we manage mobility together with the use of energy and other means that we have at our hands, and we are more and more real-time connected to the different systems in the city. And what are these systems? Well, smart and sustainable mobility will for sure come from the integration between smart transportation, meaning transportation that is able to provide smart services to the different users, that can be consumed in a very accessible way, that enable planning for individuals, for companies, for communities, whether traveling or displacing goods within a certain urban area. Smart energy systems, more and more, we heard some keywords about smart grids today. It's one of the, let's say, cliches of this century, the challenge to promote efficiency through smartness in the electrical grid. this will come together with decentralized management of electricity, the smart introduction of renewables, and demand and supply management. And some recent, I wouldn't say recent because we've had electric vehicles for 100 years now, but some trends like the introduction of electric vehicles will promote a deep integration between what we have in our minds and what is the reality of management within a city of mobility and energy. We will have an integration between mobility and energy as never before, due to the fact that an electrical vehicle can be charged virtually anywhere, as long as there is, as long as you have access to the grid, and that you can track electrons within the grid and promote the introduction of several sources, different sources of energy, and bring them into mobility. This is the case of bringing renewable-based electricity into vehicles through smart charging. But of course, for this to happen, we have to have smart people. And people are getting smarter, not only because people are getting more educated, but because people are connected, and are connected to systems, and are connected to each other, and have access to real-time information, and can demand real-time information from these systems. So we are looking at new generations of people that will be smart connected citizens. Of course, we will never be able to neglect less connected people, but these are the citizens of the future. These are the ones that will be the basis for the development of new mobility systems. And of course, if we have smart transportation, smart energy, smart uses, then we can have smart companies that take advantage of these dynamics and develop, think of, conceive, incubate, and produce new technologies, products, and services that can be implemented in the city through smart integration, and that can generate assets that can be tradable, meaning closing all this loop between the fact that we need smart transportation in connection with smart energy, and through smart users, we can develop smart services that can generate themselves sustainable solutions for the users in the urban framework, but can be exported, can be extrapolated to different locations. So this is a bit of the challenge, to take advantage of the fact that we have all these challenges, but we want to do more than contribute to low-emission solutions. We want to take advantage of these challenges and develop new technologies, products, and services that can be tested, that can be exported, and taking technology from the companies and the R&D centers that work in this specific city. And one of the visions that we have been developing at Intelli for this future is what we call the single mobility invoice. What if we could create an integration of systems and services that can be foreseen or that can be perceived by the user as a single mobility service that can aggregate all the different components of our A to B daily displacement, from taking our vehicle to the train station, parking, charging, taking the train, taking the subway, and then taking that last mile vehicle that we can foresee today as the future concepts or the future mobility devices. And this vision will enable users to choose and to plan from what is today a cloud of mobility and energy services that they have at their disposal. This will generate important tools both for the users, for the city planners, for the energy systems, for the transport operators, because all of them share the same need, which is to have access to the users, to provide users with the ability to plan, and to provide the city and their own systems with the ability to gather information from all the dynamics of mobility within the city. We are getting more and more connected, as I said. We are coming into a 2.0 society in which people are connected and share their experiences. More and more We are coming into the age of the Internet of Things. Vehicles are connected, devices are connected, and we should take advantage of this new connection so that looking at users that not only consume but also produce information on their day-to-day basis. An example is when we are able to keep track of all the vehicles that are circulating in the city, we are able to retrieve traffic information. When we are able to collaborate with people on their day-to-day basis displacements, we are able to retrieve information that is useful for transport planning. When we are looking at people that will charge their electric vehicles on the grid, we are looking at new information that can generate new services regarding demand-supply response, regarding the integration with the power grid, regarding grid stabilization that will generate new services. So what we're coming at is the age of the service cloud and the need to, and this is not something new, we have been working around integrated and collaborative management systems for some years now, but the keystone is not only technology, because technology is more of an enabler. The keystone is to develop the right business concepts that enable people to have access to these systems and that in the end enable all the settlement and all the clearing between all the players that can be connected to these systems. And one of the experiences that we have is, in Portugal, I will address the issue of electric mobility, but when we were challenged to look at the issue of electric mobility a few years ago, we followed exactly this same example. How to look at mobility as the integrated array of services that can then be integrated and then can be managed from the side of the user, from the side of the operators, from the side of the city as an integrated service through real-time tariffs, if you want to, that enable people to choose and plan almost in real time. So we have been looking at the concept of an integration of the different services through systems that enable the B2B and the B2C settlement that can provide access to the services through different devices. We have chargers, we have the electric meters, we have the different transportation means, we have vehicles, and in the end, all of this will go into against the user's needs. The access to integrated authentication, billing, and payment systems that work in an integrated way through the ability to generate B2B, B2C settlement through real-time tariff management systems. So this is one of the, I would say, concepts that we have been developing, and we can look at it from a different perspective. Within this cloud of services, how can this work? Is we in fact, platforms that generate services that are consumed by users, that generate information that enable better planning and management for the city, for the energy system, that take advantage on the fact that by connecting users, transportation means, the different devices, we are generating cloud information that by itself is a generator of other information and of other new services, and that in the end we can explore new ideas like carbon credit models or avoided emission-based models that we can bring within this system. As I told you, this is a vision. This is where we started from. This is where we came when we addressed electric mobility, and therefore we looked at MobiE, which is the system that we developed for electric mobility management as an integrator of services that can integrate electricity, charging services, parking, and all the other, I would say, assets that are consumed on a day-to-day basis when using your electric vehicle. So going very quickly through the case of electric mobility, taking on this concept that we developed, we were challenged to go further and develop the technology. And we looked at electric mobility as more than spreading a set of sockets through the country. We looked at it as an enabler for future services, for future business models. And we wanted to develop something that would provide the ability to provide the ability for users to choose how to consume, where to consume, and when to consume. So we developed a technology system that enables the management of the infrastructure, that enables the integration of the infrastructure with the power grid, that enables the integration of the infrastructure with the vehicles, that was focused on this ability to integrate the different services, and in the end returns in something like the ability for a single user, as we see in the chart, to consume energy from a retailer of his choice at any station, at any charging station in the network. So this means the ability to choose the provider of the charging service, the ability to choose who to buy the electricity from and what electricity to buy, because we have developed the ability to provide the user with many choices of electricity. In one of the projects that we are working internationally, we are working with certificates of origin, meaning we can provide the user with the ability to charge his vehicle from renewable-based energy. And in the end, we provide the operators, the retailers, with very comprehensive and real-time information that enables also them to manage their business. And through the settlement of a clearinghouse that operates this system, that is responsible for all the clearing, for all the settlement within the system, we are able to maintain this system in operation, to give this ability for people to choose, for operators to develop their businesses, for retailers to develop their businesses, and in the end, to make a smart, real-time integration with the power grid. We have been running this pilot for 1.5 years, 2 years now, and I have taken a few notes from the previous presentations, and one was from Professor Kramer, where we referred the master plan 100%. We had a similar approach here in Portugal, that was to involve the local communities, the municipalities, in setting their own strategy for electric mobility. So each of them developed their own plan. They were integrated in what we call RENER. RENER is the living lab for mobility here in Portugal, for mobility and energy program projects here in Portugal. You will hear a bit more of detail about RENER from my colleague Catarina Slada, but the main thing is that we were able to engage the municipalities. They are the ones that know their communities, they are the ones that know their territory, they are the ones that should develop their local initiatives to foster the different means of mobility. So they were involved, they were engaged in this consortium RENER, and we have today been running this program for 1.5 years with, I would say, a low uptake of electric vehicles, but we have been accumulating a very important experience in terms of managing the system, exploring these business models, and extrapolating them to, let's say, the largest scenario of managing mobility and energy within a city or an urban area. One of the outcomes that we had is that we focused on systems that would be able to have the right flexibility so that they could be implemented both in Portugal or in any other location. If we look back at the business model that we developed, it's fairly complex, meaning that within this complexity, you can find different ways of implementing the system with very low complexities and responding to different business environments. So taking advantage of that and building on the fact that we created the opportunity, or we found the opportunity, we involved the municipalities, we invested in the R&D, we developed the pilot, we were able to engage companies in developing technologies for a new emerging market based on a pilot that is today implemented on the streets and that is run with real people, with real users, from whom we get feedback on a day-to-day basis and from whom we get the basis for improvement of our system and for improvement of our, let's say, business model, not only with the users, but also with all the stakeholders involved, from the companies, the energy players like EDP, Galp, from the municipalities like the municipality of Lisbon, who is our host today. And based on this experience, we were able to put companies into the development of new technologies, and some of these companies that have worked within what we call the MOBI consortium are today global market leaders. And I will say this again, global market leaders in these new technologies, and all coming from a challenge to address a specific issue in an emerging market and the ability to put these companies to work in real life pilots. So today we find that this is an interesting outcome of the project. Nevertheless, the very slow, and I would emphasize without any fear, the relatively slow uptake of electric vehicles. But the fact is that we look at it as a reproductive investment, in the sense that we have had an investment ranging 15 million euros that today was already surpassed by the exports that were generated from this MOBI consortium, and I would say with an integration of Portuguese technology and Portuguese know-how ranging 80% of what was developed and what is exported. So it's a very different, let's say, approach to many initiatives that we have been seeing in recent years. Based on this, I wouldn't take much time, but based on this, what we are developing now is how to better address the new services that will be provided for the city, the new services that can and will be provided for the mobility operators and also for the energy players, but again, with one specific focus, that is to develop something, systems, business models, the ability to consume in an integrated way for taking the users, either individuals or communities or companies, as the prime focus, because they will be the ones that will be using these systems in the end. So provided that happens, and building on our experience, what we propose is that we can set as a new challenge to develop a new agenda for mobility, one that looks at mobility not only from the standpoint of mobility that is sustainable in a traditional way, I would say, responsible, efficient, universal, but also takes account the new realities, the new users, the smart cities, the technologies, but further than that, mobility that generates the opportunities for incubating new ideas, new products, new services within the dynamics of the city, working with local companies, with local R&D institutions, building pilots and demonstrators that can be worked on with the local communities and then can generate new products and services for these new global markets. So in essence, going from building a strategy to setting the right innovation approaches through R&D, as we have seen before in one of the presentations, developing the right pilot tests and validation, using the city, using the urban areas, using the real users as a test bed, developing new products and services that can be exported or, let's say, made global based on local technology and local know-how. In the end, using sustainable mobility as a test ground for developing, testing, and implementing new and innovative technologies, products, and services for the emerging mobility and energy markets. And I would say, once again, going back to the beginning of the presentation, this is the main challenge in the 21st century, as we have seen from these presentations and the presentations before, and I'm sure that we will be seeing from the presentations to come during the day. Thank you very much.